A small country like a park, but owns wealth far beyond many great powers. A simple man in white, but lives in a sacred and luxurious world. He is not a king, but his power spreads across the globe. Discover the impressive truth about the mysterious world of the Pope. Inside the little-known world of Pope Francis lies a $50 billion real estate empire, ancient relics worth more than a country's GDP, and gold-embroidered, diamond-studded robes. As the spiritual leader of 1.3 billion Catholics, the Pope presides from the Vatican, the world's smallest and richest country. Behind his humble appearance lies the head of one of the oldest and most powerful institutions in human history. Pope Francis, born in 1936 in Argentina to a working-class family, worked as a chemical technician before joining the Jesuits in 1958. He was ordained a priest in 1969, became Archbishop of Buenos Aires in 1998, and Cardinal in 2001. On March 13, 2013, he became the 266th Pope, the first from Latin America, the first Jesuit, and the first to choose the name Francis. His hallmark is a combination of humility and global influence. From international forums to refugee camps, he is a moral voice in a divided world, calling for peace, justice, and protection of the vulnerable. Pope Francis is the epitome of a global spiritual leader, living and acting from the heart of the small but powerful Vatican city-state. Vatican City, a resplendent spiritual hub with a treasure trove of art, ancient manuscripts, and historical heritage, is where Pope Francis has not only inherited but reshaped tradition. Though he lives simply and shuns luxury, he presides over a global institution with vast wealth and far-reaching influence. In 2013, he was named Person of the Year for his role in bold reform, expanding interfaith dialogue, promoting environmental justice, empowering women, and reorienting the Church toward the world. He is not just a spiritual leader, but a moral icon who leads the world's most powerful institution. Welcome to the invisible empire of Pope Francis, where humility belies great power and a soft voice shakes the centers of power. The Vatican, the world's smallest state, combines ancient opulence, breathtaking beauty, and timeless spiritual influence. Although he lives in a historical site instead of a golden palace, every day the Pope enters a world of power, priceless art, and over 2,000 years of religious heritage, a place few have ever seen and even fewer can imagine. Subscribe to the channel to explore a world of power. Don't miss these interesting things. The Apostolic Palace, the official residence of the Pope, is not just a residence but also a center of power and faith with more than 1,000 rooms where decisions of global significance are made. Among them, the Sistine Chapel, famous for its Michelangelo ceiling, is where the cardinals meet to elect a new pope. The Vatican is not only a center of art and religion, but also an independent country with its own passport, currency, security forces, and legal system, despite having fewer than 1,000 residents. Yet this tiny city has the loyalty of 1.3 billion Catholics worldwide. Its head is the Pope, a white-robed figure who is both the supreme religious leader and head of state. The heart of the Vatican is St. Peter's Basilica and St. Peter's Square, an architectural marvel that can accommodate more than 300,000 people. At the center of St. Peter's Square is an ancient Egyptian obelisk surrounded by 284 marble columns, a symbol of the Church's tolerance. From here, Pope Francis blesses millions of people around the world. Inside the Vatican is a network of assets and collections worth tens of billions of dollars. The Apostolic Palace is worth an estimated $2 billion, while the Vatican Gardens, the Pope's private retreat, are valued at up to $1 billion because of their historic location and design. 15 miles outside Rome, Castel Gandolfo, the Pope's former summer residence, is a 135-acre estate with gardens, observatories, and stunning views, now valued at $400 to $500 million. Deep beneath the Vatican lies the Vatican Apostolic Library, the central bank of human knowledge, containing more than 1.6 million books, 75,000 manuscripts, and 8,500 ancient publications. It houses precious documents such as the Codex Vaticanus, one of the oldest Bibles, the trial records of Galileo, and correspondence between the Vatican and American leaders such as Lincoln and Roosevelt. In addition, the Vatican Apostolic Archives hold more than 12 centuries of history, from Napoleon's letters to records from the Hitler and Mussolini eras. The total value of the collections is estimated at $20 to $50 billion, which may be impossible to value. Although Pope Francis lives a humble life, he oversees a spiritual, political, and cultural empire that is second to none. The Vatican is the spiritual heart of the West, where power is unobtrusive but exists quietly through marble, Swiss soldiers, and historic decisions. At its center is Pope Francis, who represents an unparalleled spiritual and material empire. Beneath the sacred exterior lies a treasure trove of ancient relics and ritual artifacts, a collection that may be the most spiritually and financially valuable in human history. The highlight is a piece of wood believed to be from the True Cross, housed in a gold case encrusted with precious stones, with an estimated historical and material value of over $100 million. Next to the cross is the Holy Lance, the Roman spear that pierced Christ's side, encased in gold-plated silver, estimated to be worth $30 to $50 million. Next is the Veronica veil, depicting the face of Christ, whose symbolic value could exceed $50 million. Not limited to the time of Christ, relics include the bones, clothing, and belongings of the apostles, such as St. Peter and St. Paul, some buried under the main altar of St. Peter's Basilica, others in a jewel-encrusted reliquary. The collection continues with vestments of silk and gold thread, gold chalices studded with diamonds and sapphires, and intricately carved 14th century incense burners. A sunburst crucifix covered in rubies was once valued at more than $10 million. In addition, the Vatican museums hold more than 70,000 priceless works of art. Among the treasures are the ancient Greek marble Laocoon and his Sons, worth more than $100 million, and Raphael's The School of Athens, potentially worth as much as $200 million. Hidden from view is the papal tiara, set with more than 1,000 diamonds and precious stones, a symbol of ancient imperial power. Next to it are the intricately carved ancient thrones and liturgical robes embroidered in gold and studded with precious stones, symbols of spiritual power and political influence. The total value of the Vatican's collection of relics, vestments, and art exceeds $100 billion. However, these treasures are not kept for profit, but are preserved as sacred symbols, representing faith, worship, and the soul of human civilization. This is the Vatican's powerful but silent secret empire. Behind Pope Francis's humble appearance lies a $1 million wardrobe filled with lavish ceremonial garments that are both of great material value and symbols of power and thousands of years of religious tradition. Typical examples include the mozzetta, a short cloak that changes color according to the liturgical season, made of high-quality fabric with gold-plated buttons; the camaro, a red velvet hat with ermine trim, a symbol of power in the Middle Ages; the fisherman's ring, a gold ring engraved with the image of St. Peter, representing the Pope's power and destroyed after his death; and liturgical gloves, hand-embroidered silk gloves used during major masses. Pope Francis' wardrobe continues to reveal iconic pieces: the white cassock, the daily ceremonial uniform, hand-sewn from fine wool or silk; the fascia, a lightly embroidered white strip of fabric wrapped around the waist; the berretta, the traditional three-cornered hat worn during formal ceremonies. Every stitch is a sign of deep reverence. Despite his majestic attire, Pope Francis's daily life is simple. He wakes up at 4:30 a.m., prays, celebrates Mass at the Casa Santa Marta, and has breakfast of orange juice and traditional Argentinian dishes. During the day, he attends diplomatic meetings, holds theological discussions, receives leaders, and spends time writing letters, including answering children's letters, a reflection of his profound humility and compassion. In the evening, Pope Francis ends his day with prayer and retires at 9 p.m. Despite his simple schedule, he plays a vital global role, leading peace missions, interfaith dialogue, and international travel. Amid his humble appearance and lavish repertoire of rituals, he maintains a balance between tradition and modernity, humility and power. However, behind that sacred facade lies a huge financial empire. The Vatican owns more than 5,000 global real estate properties, invests in the Italian stock market, accounting for 7 to 10%, with a 2023 budget of up to $1.4 billion USD, equivalent to a major university, a system where faith and finance are subtly blended under the silent management of the Pope. Major sources of income, such as the Peter's Pence donation, $57 million in 2023, and tourism revenue from the Vatican museums, have been hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. In an effort to increase transparency, the Pope has created a Secretariat for the Economy, published annual financial reports, and cut cardinal salaries and bonuses. However, the Vatican still reported a $50 million deficit in 2022, largely due to overspending, financial scandals, and an unbalanced pension fund. As part of the reform, management of assets was transferred to APSA, while the Pope called for stronger contributions from the faithful and philanthropists. Revenue from tourism, especially museum admissions, contributes greatly to the preservation of religious art and architecture. But the real value of the Vatican lies not only in its wealth, but also in the global influence of the Pope on moral and social issues. The tension between humility and financial power is always a difficult one, but this power is still used for global humanitarian purposes. While the Vatican's wealth is often questioned in public about the contrast between its teachings on humility and its opulence, Pope Francis does not shy away from it, instead viewing wealth as a tool for his mission. The tension between power and faith at the Vatican is navigated by virtue and kindness. In a world of uncertainty, the Pope is a quiet but influential figure, crossing political boundaries with diplomacy and morality. In 2014, he played a key role in the resumption of relations between the United States and Cuba. In 2015, his encyclical Laudato Si called for global action on climate change, influencing the Paris Climate Agreement. In 2021, his visit to Iraq and meeting with Grand Ayatollah Ali al-Sistani demonstrated his commitment to interfaith dialogue and peacemaking. The Vatican, the smallest country in the world, holds great influence, with many interesting facts. It spent nearly 60 years in isolation after a conflict with the Italian government and was only recognized as an independent country in 1929 through the Lateran Treaty signed by Benito Mussolini. Has a loyal, elite Swiss guard to protect the Pope, has a population of only about 800 people, has no hospital, and citizens are only recognized when working at the Vatican, and especially owns priceless art treasures such as the Vatican museums and the Sistine Chapel, attracting millions of tourists every year. The Vatican is not only a religious center, but also a cultural and historical treasure of humanity. In the seemingly simple but powerful and mysterious lifestyle of the Pope, what surprises you the most? Share your opinion under the video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next interesting stories.